go. All right, hello everyone. My name is Wesley. This is Wu Can Cook. Today we're doing a Thai sesame noodle dish, which is going to be an interesting one because it is not technically a Thai dish, nor is it technically going to be sesame, I think. So, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We're very excited to be here again. The lapel mics went down, so I have not been live streaming with audio in a while because the mics went down. So here we are, we're back again, and we've been live streaming. It's gonna be fun. For those looking forward to recipes, as always, anytime that we're live streaming, pretty much anytime. Those recipes, they always live over on my YouTube channel, so if you're watching on Reddit, that's the channel that's at the bottom of the screen. That's that channel. Those recipes, they move a little bit slower, so if you're trying to like work through the things that we're cooking, that's a good spot to start. And I also don't like tangent as much and like ramble on and stuff. They're a little bit more concise and you don't have to scroll through an hour and a half of live stream. So that's a good place to start if you're looking for that stuff. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer everybody. Today we're going to be doing our sesame noodle. I think we actually have sesame paste. Yeah, today we're doing our recipe using sesame paste, which comes from Chinese cuisine, or Sichuan cuisine really. But there's a whole bunch of different ways of substituting those things out. The number one way that I've heard is by using tahini, which is just a different kind of sesame paste. Tahini is not toasted. You can also, though, you can use peanut butter, which is another great substitute, and then there's lots of different ways of making a sesame paste noodle, which is cool. What's really interesting about this particular dish is that it doesn't really exist in Thai cuisine. As far as I can tell, and as far as my research has gone about Thai noodle dishes or Thai noodles that feature sesame paste, such a dish does not actually exist. The concept of a sesame noodle dish cuisine is very, very common. You call it the dandan mian. You will even see it come up in a lot of Japanese cuisine, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it come up in Korean cuisine too, which is just variations on the word dandan, where essentially meaning that like noodles with sesame paste or sometimes peanut butter or sometimes peanut paste, something like that. That's then tossed in some amount of like soy sauce or something and put over some noodles, basically. So it's sesame paste noodles. In Thai cuisine, as far as I can tell, and I looked around pretty extensively, I have never really seen the existence of a sesame noodle dish in Thai cuisine, which is really interesting, because I found one that actually came up in a Thai restaurant here in Oakland. So the version that we're doing is inspired by one found at Monkey Thai in Alameda, which is really interesting. For the most part, though, because Thai noodle dishes Thai cuisine doesn't really feature a dandan mian, as far as I can tell. What we're really going to be doing is we're essentially going to be making a pad kimao, or today we're using ground pork, so pad kimao, and then we're going to toss it in essentially a Szechuan dandan mian. Really interesting. So it's effectively going to be a Thai noodle dish, but really what you're eating is a Chinese dish with some Thai noodles, which is going to be really tasty. So 5 cloves of garlic. Yeah, today I used 5 cloves of garlic because the cloves are really, really small. So that the garlic that I have gotten lately is really small, which is really annoying. So lately I've been using more and more cloves of garlic, which is actually not a good thing. So if you have to use a lot of cloves of garlic, if your cloves are really small, it means you have to chop more garlic, which is really annoying. So. The real Wesley uses 4, yeah. Yeah. When I'm really into there's some recipes actually that use like double or triple the amount of garlic, which is that might be too much garlic, but yeah. Alright. Where was I? I was talking to someone. I met them at one of our pop-ups last week, and he said that he actually cooked through this and then did like 5 different substitutes, all of which were substitutes that make a lot of sense. and he said that it still tasted really good, which is really encouraging because it means that the recipe is really resilient. More, if you can make a lot of substitutes to a recipe and it still works, that means that it's a resilient recipe, which I do all the time. I substitute stuff in recipes. I'm literally going to make a big substitution in this recipe today. So I actively encourage people to make substitutions anytime that they need to or want to, because that's the best part about cooking. So for our version today, actually for the recipe version that I had written, we did it with really fine minced, or like borderline minced. It was just like a really, really small chop to some chicken thigh, which worked really well because rice noodles, or the chow fun noodles that we were using, are really delicate.